Hey crew, I've got the key to that 22 Audi R8 rear drive performance coupe. We are going to take it for a drive, but first let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. No aesthetic changes for 22, so we still have this big hexagonal grille with black gloss meshing, an R8 badge, these 3 notches above that, LED headlights and LED DRLs, functional corner vents to the heat extractors on the left and right hand side, but then these super corner vents are non-functional. This one is painted in Vegas yellow. It's a pale yellow that I actually quite like as a contrast to the canary yellows that you see on some other supercars. In profile, with the dynamic package, we have these lightweight 20-inch gray painted alloy wheels, and they're wrapped up in Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, 245 section front and 305s in the rear. Within those, again with the dynamic package, we have the carbon ceramic brakes. They're 8-piston front calipers and 4-piston rear. These are going to reduce the unsprung mass and keep your stopping distances short on the track. V10 badge here, body color matching door mirror. The infamous side blade, which for the second generation R8 is interrupted by body color there. Carbon fiber with the carbon fiber exterior package. Stepping back to look at the profile, here you can see the R8 is super low slung, very gentle taper to that roofline. I love the profile of the R8. And getting to the back, here's a big difference between the Coupe and the Spider I reviewed recently. You now can look at that 5.2 liter naturally aspirated V10 through this glass cover, and with the exterior carbon pack, you get some of that nice carbon fiber around it. The taillights are LEDs with sequential turn signals. The spoiler is hidden right now, but it does deploy up. Down low, these massive black oval exhaust finishers in a pair come with the sport package. Love that black gloss diffuser as well. The width and stance of this R8 just give it a presence on the road that the Vegas yellow paint job only enhances. Now let's look at that interior. Opening up and looking inside at this all black interior with fine Nappa leather seating with the dynamic package. We have these Recaro buckets, integrated pass-throughs for your harnesses, and a Bang & Olufsen sound system. You have heating for these seats. They're power raising and lowering, but manual sliding seats. For storage in the R8 Coupe, you do have a front trunk accessed via this button, but at only 4 cubic feet of space, I certainly couldn't fit inside comfortably, and that's so important. You do have additional storage behind these front seats. There's this shelf here where you could probably fit 2 duffel bags. If you wanted to look at the engine more closely than just peering through the glass, you can pull this trigger and the back glass will pop up. We have this aluminum R8 tread plate. There are aluminum foot pedals, power adjusting and power folding door mirrors, one-touch windows, solid feeling door, leather all over this panel, and gloss carbon fiber trim. That's an optional accessory. Sliding inside, very easy to do. Closing up the door. Nice solid sound. Put it in accessory mode. That illuminates the 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, and this houses everything with no additional infotainment system. You got all your media settings. You have, of course, the speedo and tachometer. You've got your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto system. And just outside the gauge cluster, which is reconfigurable, there's more gloss carbon fiber trim. Up top, you get stitched leather all over the dashboard. On the passenger side, you get a rear-wheel drive plaque, just to remind you. Carbon fiber is around the air vent covers, seat heat settings on either side of these 3 extensions, which I just have this strong urge to pull as if it's going to do something. They're supposed to be stationary and they operate the HVAC controls. Still cool looking. Under this leather cover, we find a wireless smartphone charging pad, 2 USB ports, and a DC outlet. This button manually raises and lowers the spoiler. There's carbon fiber trim. Oh my gosh. That noise is coming from the bolsters on these seats. I don't love that sound. As I was saying, there's high gloss carbon fiber trim around this knurled finish dial to control the infotainment / gauge cluster. You can also use these buttons on the wheel. Other buttons on the wheel, you've got drive select, performance. This opens the baffles and the exhaust. Of course, you've got your red start-stop button. The wheel itself, perforated leather wrapped with a flat bottom, feels great in the hands. Further back here in the console, under this leather piece, we have two smallish cup holders. There is a disc reader here. I can't unhear those bolsters now. Visibility is good up until you get to the headrest. Then there's a big blind spot there. The back glass piece isn't too small though, and you do have blind spot monitoring as standard. There's an Alcantara wrapping to the headliner, and nice doming to the roof means that I can actually fit with a bit of headroom. Might even be enough space for me to put on a helmet. With this car's performance, that might be tempting to do. The cabin, nice material quality. Love the carbon fiber. It feels focused on the driver. And now I'm focused on the drive. All right, let's fire it up. Boisterous. And yet, when the R8 just comes to an idle, it's so mellow. You would never even notice it if you weren't, looking at it. Drive modes to start us off. We're gonna be in auto mode, sort of a catch-all for daily driving. It responds to your driving behavior and fine-tunes the transmission and the throttle response. We're gonna go into reverse by pressing in and pressing forward on the gear selector. That brings up a nice resolution camera with trajectory lines. And we can begin our drive. Down into drive. And as usual, we'll begin with a turning radius test, followed by the world famous horn test. Let's crank it. Pretty darn good, especially considering we don't have the rear wheels pivoting for us to decrease the radius. Still going to be nice and tight for you. Oh my gosh, do you hear the squeaky bolsters? Always there, always squeaking. All right, let's do that horn test. Here we go. Yeah, that's loud enough. It'll get your attention if the yellow paint job doesn't. Let's talk powertrain. 5.2 liter naturally aspirated V10. This engine is shared with the Lamborghini Huracan. I'm not going to try to pronounce that correctly. It makes, in this application, 562 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. Not as much as the Quattro version of the R8, not as much as the Huracan Evo, but still more than the 21 model year R8, because now the rear drive is only called performance. So performance gets you more performance and a higher price tag. That engine is connected to a 7-speed dual clutch automatic gearbox, and it's important to note that it is a dual clutch. It's not a torque converter automatic, and that has some benefits and some negatives. For daily driving, the only negative really is just that you can feel each gear engaging at low speeds. So it's not going to be as smooth as a more conventional automatic, but at higher speeds, having the two gear sets means that the next gear is primed up in a way that a torque converter automatic isn't doing. So in theory, the shifts should be quicker. The carbon ceramics, the brake is easy to modulate, and then here we go. You can kind of feel that gear engage, and so the throttle response is not perfectly smooth. The ride quality, without the Quattro model's adaptive dampers, the fixed dampers make for a firmer ride. So you're kind of jostled about a bit in the seat. but still the dampers are set up in a way that it softens the harder hits. So you're never punished. It's not uncomfortable to daily drive the R8 rear drive. It's just never quite soft. But then again, I mean, this is still a supercar. What do you expect? I would like to see how quick the R8 rear drive gets to 60 miles per hour. So let's do that next. To find out the 0 to 60, I've got my race box set up. I'm just going to hit the performance button, hold the brake, pin the throttle. 3.68 seconds. With some noted loss of traction off the line, we still got 3.68 seconds. That beats Audi's own estimate of 3.7 seconds. And that means that I know on a primed surface, if I did that enough, we'd get that 0 to 60 down to a pretty short time. And that also means that even in rear drive form, the R8 is super quick. And it's not just satisfied with being quick, it moves straight into fast. So back into performance we go, taking over manual control. Some properly quick downshifts. And rapid upshift. Moving all the way into the 8,500 RPM red line. It's a treat. As is that soundtrack. And the overrun. Sensational. Now, as I'm doing this, I have to say that though the theater of that V10 is wonderful, it's not quite as enveloping as the Spider version, because when you have the top down and you get all of the aural sensation, aural, A-U-R-A-L, not the other one, all of the aural sensation, it's even more magnificent. This is good. This is very, very good. But that Spider was just another level. It's the same engine, and I'm sure outside the car it's sounding the same to all who are around because both have the sport exhaust system. But from within, that Spider was just more. Not more performance though. In a straight line, this thing is wicked quick, wicked fast, and the gear shifts are ultra rapid, especially on those upshifts. The only thing bringing that down, back into auto, thank you. The only thing bringing that down, the manual operation, the quick shifts, is the fact that these paddles feel like you got them out of a Cracker Jack box. They're so cheap, the plastic. It's like, come on, at least give me some aluminum paddles. Ideally make them bigger, but even if not, just some more tactile feel than that. And in fact, it's kind of funny to take stock of the highs and lows of the sounds in the R8 rear drive because, all right, so you got the squeaky bolsters, bad. You have the paddle sound, bad. You have the naturally aspirated V10 noise, glorious. And then you have on the highway, on some road surfaces like that one, a lot of tire noise, but then on most road surfaces, there really isn't much. It's a very well insulated cabin. The wind noise is kept in check. The road noise, not bad at all. So you could actually daily drive this on the highway or around town and be perfectly happy. That's a hard thing to say about a lot of supercars, but the R8 rear drive pulls it off. What about the weekend fun though? Because on the weekends, you might be tempted to find a good canyon road and to see what the R8 rear drive can do. If you do that, you'll be rewarded, because the R8 rear drive loves corners. And this is a very different driving experience from the Quattro model for a couple reasons. One, less weight. Two, not having the front wheels be motivated means that they're just tasked with turning the vehicle. And that means there's zero plow to the front end. You just have the back axle pushing you through the corner, the mechanical limited slip differential, ushering power side to side as needed to maximize your traction. That V10 sailing you forward, these carbon ceramics digging in and scrubbing speed without any hesitation, the gearbox doing its job to quickly move through the gears. The steering is actually very good. I say actually because most Audi products don't give you a lot of feel, but this optional dynamic rack that shortens the ratio for activities like these also has really fluid turn-in, telegraphs the car nicely through the corner, and just brings you into the driving experience more. And when matched with a highly competent set of Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, the R8 rear drive just has this composure in a corner that makes you want to push it a little bit. And I can't say that the Quattro model gave me that same sense of desire. Now, to put everything on a level, I don't have the same sensitivity and feeling of precision here that I do in something like the 911 GT3. That car is just more exacting in everything that it does. And the feedback in the GT3 is as darn close to perfection as I've felt behind the wheel of a road car. This has some lapses here and there, but they're at a level of driving that if you weren't on a track, may not be deal breakers. Because I'm still having a lot of fun behind the wheel here. And if weekend canyons and daily driving are the two environments in which you'll probably exist if you don't plan on going to the track, you might be fully satiated. Especially by that soundtrack. But we should talk about pricing and competition, just to lay it out there so that you, as the buyer, can make the most educated decision on your absurdly powerful, quite expensive supercar. The starting figure for the R8 rear-wheel drive coupe is $150,000. For reference, that's 50 grand less expensive than the Quattro coupe. And a couple figures I haven't shared yet. The fuel economy for this vehicle is 14 mpg in the city, 23 on the highway, and 17 combined. Top speed, 202 miles per hour. This vehicle is tested with a number of options that I've shared is $187,000. To compare, I'm thinking of vehicles like the BMW M8 Competition Coupe that start at a more reasonable $132,000. That vehicle makes more power, 617 horses. It gets to 60 quicker with its all-wheel drive system at 2.9 seconds. The top speed is lower at 189 miles per hour. The fuel economy is the same at 17 combined. Then we have the vehicle I already mentioned, the Porsche 911 GT3. It starts at $162,000. It makes 502 horsepower, and even though it's rear drive and makes less power, it still gets to 60 quicker than the R8 rear drive coupe at 3.2 seconds. The top speed is 198 miles per hour for that one, and the fuel economy is less at 16 combined. Here's why I would not choose the R8 rear-wheel drive coupe. It's not just because that GT3 exists, it's actually because Audi also offers this as the Spider model, which I have reviewed, and you should go watch that POV drive review. The reason I would choose that one is because if you just wanted the best blend of compliance, amazing soundtrack, superstar look, then that drop top gives you that while also amping up the theater of hearing that V10 for just $12,000 more. Then, if you instead wanted a more hardcore driving experience, I would then look to the 911 GT3. For all the reasons I shared up to this point, it just has more for the driver. It's just more dynamic. That's where I land with the R8 rear-wheel drive coupe. It's a lot of fun to drive. It's stunning to look at. It's comfortable. These seats squeak like crazy, but it's a hoot and a half. There are different and I think better flavors to the R8, or there's just a more complete driver's package in the 911 GT3. I hope you guys have enjoyed this POV drive review. If you did, please like, comment, and share the video. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell to get notified. And a few downshifts later, I'll see you again next time.